to things like, the flu, which begins to start to creep up on you around this time of year. So we're going to talk about that. As I say, we've been talking about how your state of mind influences your immune system by the stress response. So negative thoughts, fears, frustrations trigger the stress response, and that's linked to what they call the fight or flight response. It's when your body just gets ready to fight, and in order to get ready to fight, part of it is shutting down this immune system, and this is the basis for inflammation that happens that causes illnesses. So what we want to trigger, instead of the stress response, which, as I said, can be triggered by anything from, problems at work, problems with your spouse or children, to, a negative news story. We want to counteract those effects by triggering the relaxation response, because the relaxation response is what kicks the immune system into high gear. That's when you heal. So we're going to talk about that. But let's talk about some other kinds of immune boosters that are related to diet. And then we'll look at the other portion of it, which has a lot to do with happiness and optimism. So, one of the tips that we know now helps to boost your immune system and support it in a physical way, in a dietary way, are getting enough antioxidants. And the number one antioxidant that we know of is natural vitamin C. Now, of course, you can get vitamin C in pill form and powder form these days, but natural vitamin C that comes from foods, is the most powerful kind of vitamin C. You can add to it with the supplements, but if you're eating the right foods, you might not even need to do that. So what kind of foods are good sources for vitamin C? Well, we always know about oranges. For a long time we've known oranges are loaded with vitamin C. But there are lots of other vegetables too that you can add to your diet that will boost your source of vitamin C. So besides oranges, of course, pineapples and grapefruits, citrus fruits like that, lots of vitamin C. Lots of vitamin C. Cantaloupe is another one that's very high in vitamin C. Broccoli is a vegetable, and a vegetable that isn't always very popular. I happen to love it, but there's lots of people that don't like broccoli. But if you can do it, if you can put that into your diet as one of the major vegetables in your on your plate, that can definitely give you a lot of vitamin C. And it's also been shown to have strong effects linked to combating cancer as well. So kiwi is another fruit that also has quite a bit of vitamin C. And strawberries. Strong high levels of vitamin C with strawberries. So lots of fruits: strawberries, grapefruit, pineapple, oranges, kiwi, and cantaloupe. And peppers, green or red or yellow peppers, whatever peppers you want to use, they also have quite a bit of vitamin C. So boost up on that vitamin C, and that'll help you certainly as the colds and things start to uh, emerge, as the weather gets colder, and all of those things. So besides diet, then, what else can we do to boost our immune system? Well, there's a lot of data, scientific research that links happiness and health. So happiness and its sort of twin, which is optimism. Those are the things that can, you could even think about putting those center stage in your life to help you prevent disease and keep you as physically fit as possible. So there's data that shows that optimists are actually healthier than pessimists. And it's more the way that events in people's lives are viewed, and the difference between optimists and pessimists in how they view things is how permanent, pervasive, and personal they perceive the events to be, whether they're so-called good events or bad events. Pessimists view the bad event as permanent. It'll always be this bad, and pervasive. It's going to destroy everything. And personal. They take personal responsibility. They feel, guilty, and this results in a sense of hopelessness. So, if you think that the bad events that happen, if that's what you're focused on, and again, in a way, the general tendency is to focus on bad events, and that sort of reinforces this false idea that everything is bad and going to get worse, and it's just hopeless. Whereas optimists, on the other hand, they're a different breed. They perceive bad events to be temporary, very specific, and external. And they believe good events are permanent, pervasive, and the result of their own internal goodness. So, optimists are able to look at things in the world that are so-called bad, and they're able to see them as specific to a particular situation, as being temporary, and not being their fault. Kind of these things happen kind of thing. One of the phrases that's popular today that I think is actually a strong affirmation is when people say, "It is what it is." That's a pretty powerful affirmation in a way, to put something in its place. It's not the end of the world. It's not going to, destroy everything. It's not something that's going to ruin your life, and it's not something that you have to take personal responsibility for. It just is what it is. And that's one way to, kind of deal with that idea. Another way is, in what I've talked about on the show, the point of view from which I talk about these news items, that we look at it from the higher perspective and understand that there isn't, bad or good. There are energies in the world, and that's all they are. And we make stories about them. We give them, categories. We give them you know, the idea of good and bad. We give them the power to either enhance us or pull us down. Whereas really all they're there for is to help us expand. There are a lot of people, you know, that are quite upset with our current president uh, for a number of reasons uh, that seem to just keep keep happening. Uh, Whether it be some of the racial, shall we say, insensitivity uh, that he shows, or some of the other actions he's taken, and I think I mentioned on the show last week, I've had people talk to me because I've been a strong advocate about our living in a transition era where we are transitioning to a time of greater freedom, more positivity, and more progressiveness. And then they cite, President Trump as being uh, something that thwarts that. And first of all, I remind people when they say that to me that I didn't say it was going to be easy. In fact, I said quite the opposite. I said it would be, and it is, kind of push me, pull you back and forth, 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. But what if, just what if, putting your politics aside for a moment, or your preferences aside for a moment, what if there's a very good reason why he is president right now? What if he's supposed to be president right now? Because if you look at it, the effects he's having, the things that he's saying, they are stirring people into action. They are stirring people who might not otherwise get up and do something about what they feel. He's shaking things up so that people are becoming more aware of maybe some attitudes that they have and have had for a long time. Maybe attitudes they've gotten from, their family, attitudes about other people, attitudes about race. And they're taking a look at these things and they're saying, oh, you know what? Maybe I should look at this again. Maybe I should understand how my actions and my words affect people. Maybe I should understand that I don't even understand that I've been behaving in a certain way towards people and holding certain attitudes towards people. It's making people re-examine things. And this is, remember, I mentioned this way back when he was just beginning to rise up in the primaries, that Mr. Trump is connected to what the Native Americans call Heyoka medicine. Heyoka medicine and Heyoka shamans are the ones that turn everything upside down, everything on its head. Heyoka warriors would ride backwards into battle. Traditional ceremonies, and make rude noises and jokes and laugh. It's to throw things up so that you have to reevaluate what are the things that are important to you and what are the things that are just sort of traditions or actions that have become